Olá pessoal, tudo bem com vocês? Professor Walter Silva com mais uma entrevista exclusiva da Contato para a Cnbc. Aconteceu há poucas horas atrás e ela faz revelações sensacionais sobre o que pode acontecer com o preço do Bitcoin após a aprovação do ETF. Inclusive, ela dá a opinião dela se vamos ou não ter a confirmação da aprovação do ETF de Bitcoin amanhã, dia 10 de janeiro. Então, cola na entrevista e no final eu volto com mais informações para vocês. Vamos lá, olho na entrevista.
Bitcoin's higher today as we await the SEC's ruling on the first ever Bitcoin ETF. Let's get to Bob Pisani now with today's ETF Edge and special guest, Cathie Wood. Bob?
Scotty, good to see you. You know, it's been 10 years in the waiting, 10 years. But crypto enthusiasts believe the SEC is finally on the verge of approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, perhaps as soon as this week. We'll see. There's 13 applicants for Bitcoin ETFs. First in line, Cathie Wood from ARK Invest. Cathie joins us now. Great to see you, Cathie. You know,
Great
Cathie, you were around. It was the Winklevoss twins who filed for the first Bitcoin ETF. It was 2013, as I recall, and I think it took until 2017 for the SEC to reject that application along with all the others. Do you believe your application will be approved, and why do you think so, and what kind of negotiations have been in with the SEC about this? Give us a sense of where we are.
Sure. Well, we do think the probability is very high that that Bitcoin ETFs will be approved this week. And the reason, as we've been saying, is, you know, the SEC actually, after, you know, denying a number of times, started asking questions, very good questions, very detailed questions, very technical questions. So I think they've asked all the questions they need answered, and I think most of us have probably been a part of that, you know, process.
So let's assume the SEC approves your application. What kind of impact would a Bitcoin ETF have? I mean, we've all noticed this run-up in Bitcoin ever since BlackRock announced their interest from 30,000 to over 40,000. All of this is anticipation of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Could this be a sell on the news event? What happens from here? Let's assume this is approved.
Sure. I think so many people are expecting now a sell on the news that we might not have a sell on the news because, you know, once you hear that enough, the positioning is already taking place. So who knows? It's a very short term. All we know is with our 5-year investment time horizon, we think the flows into this new asset class, especially institutional flows, but also retail flows. Retail has led the charge, of course, that they're going to be quite substantial. And it won't take much of an allocation by institutions into Bitcoin to drive what is becoming a scarce asset much higher.
Now, you recently reportedly sold Coinbase stock. This is usually considered a proxy for Bitcoin. So what are your thoughts on Bitcoin now? What kind of, flesh out your ideas a little bit for us.
So on Coinbase, it was up 400% last year, and we as we do normally, and you've seen us trading around Tesla, now trading around Coinbase, a lot of good news. It became the largest stock in our flagship portfolio. In terms of Bitcoin, we think we've got 3 very big reasons for it to continue to move higher. One, it is digital gold, and gold is a $12 trillion asset. I think Bitcoin might be up to 800 billion right now. So we do think there is some substitution taking place. And the institutional flows, if the allocations were as little as 2.5% to 5%, which is where we think they will end up, you'll see 0.5 and then 1%, you'll see a legging in. That could be the biggest reason for a Bitcoin to go up because, you know, we're at 19.5 million Bitcoin outstanding already. 15 million roughly are in long-term hands. They haven't moved their Bitcoin in more than 155 days. Therefore, we know we're only going to 21 million units ever. So this indeed, from 19.5 to 21 million, is becoming a scarce asset.
Quem ainda não abriu sua conta na BingX, aproveita, o nosso link está na descrição. BingX, a melhor corretora que você tem no mercado hoje, não faz nenhum tipo de reporte, tá? Não reporta para nenhum órgão, tá tudo tranquilo aí na BingX por enquanto. Para abrir a conta, você só precisa de e-mail e telefone. Abre com o nosso link, você faz o depósito de $50, manda o comprovante para mim aqui no Instagram e vai participar automaticamente do sorteio de uma carteira Trezor, tá? A gente está aí com a carteira Trezor com sorteio para acontecer no dia 15 de janeiro de 2024. A Trezor lacradinha, toda bonitinha, vai ser enviada para sua casa. A única coisa que você precisa fazer é abrir sua conta na BingX, fazer um depósito mínimo de $50, faz um print da tua IUD, que é a tua assinatura de conta, com o depósito de $50, manda para mim aqui no Instagram e vai automaticamente participar, né? Participar do sorteio da carteira Trezor, tá bom? Aproveita, abre o teu link e participa. E me segue aqui no Instagram, me segue no Twitter, @Cripto Com Fé. A turma quiser entrar na Academia Cripto Com Fé, link tá na descrição do vídeo. A Rocha é o melhor hub de conhecimento do mercado cripto. Você é acompanhado 24 horas por dia. Não é curso, tá? Antes que alguém diga, vendedor de curso. Não, não vendo curso. Eu não vendo curso. O que eu vendo é uma experiência de aprendizado no mercado. Você vai ser acompanhado como você nunca foi no mercado de criptomoedas. Quer participar dessa revolução? Quer participar dessa revolução de aprendizado? Academia Cripto Com Fé. Link está na descrição do vídeo. Até a próxima live, se Deus assim nos permitir.